At some camps and combines, they'll use jump mat. And at some camps and combines, they'll use actual standing towers. A lot of the tips are all going to be applicable to the same thing, but I also adjust some of my tips accordingly. That way, if you're using a jump mat, it'll apply, or the standing tower, it will apply. But for the sake of this video, I use a jump mat, so let's get into it. The first tip is you don't want to stand up too wide or too narrow, okay? If you're too wide, you won't be able to get maximal force production. If you're too narrow, you won't be able to get maximal force production. You want to stand almost right underneath your hips where you feel the most powerful. Think of it like this. Where do you feel strongest in your squat? That's probably going to be where you're going to stand. So here, for me, this is about how wide that I'm going to stand for my vert jump. The next tip, you want to use your arms as forcefully as possible. Your arms will lead your movement. So when you come to the vert, don't just go down slow with slow arms and think that you're going to jump super high. You need to use those arms and really whip those arms down and back so you can use that momentum to propel yourself up as high as you possibly can. So use your arms as forcefully as possible. This is why upper body strength is pivotal to not just sprinting fast, but also jumping high. The stronger and more powerful your body and your upper arms are, the more power you will be able to generate through your entire body for your vert jump. This next tip is you want to start with the weight in the balls of your feet. Now your feet might be slightly flatter, just so you can really get some surface area and push off the ground. But you don't want your weight back here in the heels, and you also don't want your weight way up here in your toes. You want your weight in the balls of your feet, kind of to your midline, to the balls of your feet, so that way you can activate your calves, hamstrings, and glutes to jump as high as you possibly can. So keep that weight in the balls of your feet. Now this is a huge tip we tell a lot of our athletes here. Crush the ground as you jump. I find a lot of athletes, when they jump, they just barely push off the ground thinking that they'll just jump magically high. No, as you load up, you need to think, as you're pushing off that ground, crush the ground. You want to push as if you're trying to push 3 inches below the ground. So as you're going down and you're going to push up, crush that ground and really push so you can use that force and transfer vertically. All right, this next tip is you want to propel those arms vertically up. Now, if you're using a standing tower, this is necessary because you have to actually reach and then slap. For the vert jump mat, it might be a little differently, but think about it like this. If you wanted to go run up and try to touch rim or try to slam dunk, are you going to reach backward or reach forward or barely reach at all? No, you're going to try to extend as much as you can to get as high as you can naturally. So in your vertical jump, you want to do the same thing where you want to reach up and really propel your body, chest up to the sky, head slightly up, and reach as much as possible as you're jumping. This can add an inch to your vert jump right there. Now this one might seem a little contradictory, but don't focus on your arms too much. I find a lot of athletes overthink this process and really try to think, what should I do with my arms? Should I swing them? Should I not? Should I lean? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then it ends up taking away from the jump overall. So just use the tips, use them basically, but then also practice this so you can get more comfortable too. But don't focus too much, because as you're focusing too much on your arms, it's then going to take away from what you're actually doing in your entire body. So don't focus too much on the arms or what to do. Really just focus on jumping as high as you possibly can. Your eyes, okay? So let me break this down a little bit. If you're using the standing tower, when you jump, where are you gonna look? You're obviously gonna look up because you actually need to see where you're going to touch. But if you're on a vert jump mat, you're not really sure where to look. You definitely don't want to look down. Why? Because if you naturally look down, what also follows? Your head. And what naturally follows after that? Your chest. So as you're trying to jump high, if you're looking down, your chest and head are down, and you're literally working against yourself. So where should you look? Just look straight ahead or slightly up, because what will happen naturally is if I'm looking straight ahead or slightly up, as I jump, those things will raise my head and my chest to allow myself to get higher. So definitely don't look down. Keep that head straight, keep those eyes slightly up, and then everything can work together to go up. So on this tip, it has to do with your toes, interestingly enough. So when you're jumping and you push, I find a lot of athletes keep their toes plantar flex like this or just loosey-goosey. So then what happens as they land, the first thing that hits is their toe, and then it brings them down faster than they want to, okay? What you want to do is as you're jumping, pull that toe up, pull your feet up, and everything you should be trying to actively pull up as you jump. Everything works together to go up. Okay, so pull those toes up as you jump, and you can jump even higher by doing that. Okay, this tip has to do with your knees, okay? So when you're jumping, you can't bend your knees when you jump. Don't even try. That's called a tuck jump, and we can't do those on a vertical jump test, okay? But this is also something that's gonna happen if you're trying to really bring your knees up or kick your legs. It's gonna throw your body off balance, okay? It's gonna force you to come down faster, and we don't want that. You could get injured, but ultimately you won't be able to jump as high as you can. So keep everything straight up and straight down. Think of it like this. If I'm a missile or a rocket ship and I'm trying to go straight up as fast and as long as possible, everything's gonna be straight up. So don't bend those knees or kick those legs out. Try to keep everything straight as you can, and naturally your body will follow how it's supposed to. It has to do with your mind. As you approach the mat or approach the standing tower, everything in your body should be trying to avoid the ground. Try to fight against gravity. When you jump, don't just jump and then just try to land and then just be a dead body in the air just being pulled down. No, fight the ground. Really push and fight. Naturally, what will happen is your body and your brain will work together to give you as much power and force production as possible. But if you just jump and have no intention, what's going to happen is your body's just going to be pulled down. Use everything and avoid the ground as much as you can. Hit your head on the clouds, avoid the ground, jump as high as you possibly can.